Ripping in. Welcome to episode 90 of the Jungle Brothers podcast. It's Joe Worthington here. We've got Tiora Ward.
Hi there.
Paul Fotofili in the house.
Merry Christmas.
Everyone's super excited. We're 2 days post JB's Christmas party and obviously full of energy. How you guys doing since the camping epic?
I'm okay.
I'm bouncing off the walls.
Tip top.
Could do it all again today.
Nah, yeah, a bit tired.
What is it? It's Tuesday now. So we got back into town yesterday. What was talk me through the schedule. What did we have over the weekend?
Well, we got there on Friday at about midday. I got there at midday.
We did a bit of prepping. So we went to the Colo River.
YOLO River.
YOLO. And
that's what I've called it.
And and it was a private property owned by a couple of art directors that had built this amazing little abode. It was actually like living on a film set. Like it felt like that, the way it was built.
Yeah.
And
felt
it was
like Revenge
walking
of the
distance
Nerds
from the
in terms of the set.
It had a big barn and it was built. It was right on the river. Had its own private access to the river, and the grass had just been laid in the courtyard. It was gorgeous, and we had 20 glamping tents already set up for members, and another. I don't know how many arrived after that, but on the Friday night...
About another 10?
Yeah, easy.
15 tent setups?
Yeah. Yeah. And then Friday night we had...
80s Hawaiian cocktail party.
80s Hawaiian cocktail and COVID karaoke, which Paul did very well in. I haven't heard you sing before. Like, I've heard you, like, in the office a few times. I've never heard you get up on a mic and sing. I was really impressed.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I sung on Saturday night.
Yeah, I missed that one.
In the fire.
Nina Simone.
The fireplace. Yeah. I don't have much recollection.
I saw
I was very nervous. It was very high pitched and I was just holding on.
You picked a tough track.
Ooh, I did. Was it all right?
Yeah, it was good.
It's all right. It was a bit slow and melancholy.
It was it was quite surreal to watch, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of hammered by that stage.
Yeah.
I think a lot of folks were, but it was like, it was far from jovial.
Yeah.
It was like, oh shit. Like
I looked at it, I was like, oh, this isn't my turn. This will be a safe one. And then it kind of wasn't. As I sang a couple of songs, like Irish songs, would you call that Irish folk songs?
Yeah, by the Pogues.
Oh, it was powerful.
And I mean, the beauty of those is that they're just, any voice can sing it.
Bit of storytelling.
Yeah. And it's kind of just like a pub anthem kind of thing. It doesn't require there's not a lot of different pitches
and tones.
Yeah, but yours was like deep and low. And
yeah, Nina's got like everything in her songs.
I was super blown away that you guys both sung.
Oh man, that was like one of my proudest achievements from the weekend. Black. It was Wild as the Wind. I think Bowie wrote it originally. But going back to the Friday night, we had the cocktail party, then Saturday morning.
Party, we made...
T got fucking hammered.
I got everyone hammered.
Yeah, but you got yourself the most hammered.
I think there were people who were more hammered than me. There were people that got carried out.
Just say yes so we can move on.
There were people that got carried to their tent, which was exciting. One of them was Andrew. Andrew got carried to his tent. Walshy got carried to his tent.
Did he?
Yeah. One second he was just having a normal conversation, and then the next second there were three people trying. He's a big guy. Three people trying to carry him to his tent.
Oh God,
which was exciting. I was making dark and stormies for everyone. Dark and stormies.
I moonwalked to my tent. I'm always
Hawaiian,
good.
And that's where we gave out the Member of the Year.
Yep.
Which was to Doris, Elaine, and Ali.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day we
had rehearsals for the pub choir, which we later performed in the middle of the main event party, which was on the Saturday.
And
Arvo.
And then an hour after that, there was nude still life with Paris, one of our members.
Oh, after the rehearsal, yep.
Was it just him? I heard he was looking for a second nude star.
It was just him.
Just him.
As far as I know.
Nice.
Him and probably about 8 or 9 women that drew him.
Did any of you guys go in?
Big Tony went in.
Big Tony.
Big Tony, of course.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. I think he was the only guy. And Chiron.
Nice.
Yeah, and then
He's always lurking.
Tony was probably like looking in on it because he was thinking, "Oh, I'd like to do that too." I think he'd probably
Tony's got a rig for it.
He's
That's
got a
for
rig.
sure.
He'd be like, "I'd like to see if I could do that posing."
Yeah.
and then and Ty did his breakdance same time, which was really popular
That's right.
on the skate ramp, and then it was the Burning Man
And Di was doing her Reiki all Saturday.
the whole way through
And all Sunday, yeah.
Friday, Saturday,
Appointments,
Sunday.
yeah.
She didn't stop.
Yeah, Sheen.
Yeah, and
Big
yeah,
Burning Man party.
then there was the Burning Man Christmas party.
Stampeded the lawn.
Urge.
Yeah, which was enormous.
Doof.
Fuck. Kicked
It was
off.
fun. It
Kicked
was
off
fun.
for like kind of like 4. Was it?
About that, I'd say,
Roll-
yeah.
We
Sort
were
of rolling,
supposed to switch
rolled
the
into
music
about
off
4.
at 10
We didn't.
p.m.
Yeah.
but it went off at 10 a.m.
I was breaking everyone's balls on Friday.
Saturday night. He didn't
on
give
Friday
a
night because I was like, I just want Saturday night to happen still.
Yeah,
and then we
yes.
let it go a bit on Saturday. It was good. We were indoors with it. Anyway, we moved it into the barn.
Moved into the barn.
It was great.
Great.
Yeah, it was out. It was out. It was kind of a light covering of rain all Saturday night.
Yeah.
People just danced through it. In the
Very
grass
much the
courtyard.
weekend. We didn't actually get
It was
any little to sun at all. There was just like a crack through. It was,
Yeah, I've
but
never
it was
haven't been so damp in a long time.
Yeah, but it was nice. I think
Didn't really matter, did it?
no, it didn't. It was nice and cool.
Better than bushfires.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
right.
what it was like there last year.
Exactly. Yeah, it was all
Gross.
closed off.
Sunday we
Sunday
had
was a good
we
day.
kicked off with yoga, 8 a.m. in the morning, yoga beats. Troy took a yoga class
Heard it
and
was quite good.
Sonard was DJing
Wouldn't
through that
know.
yoga class.
Wouldn't know.
Jeez,
Supposedly made it very difficult. It was a tough class. So everyone was harbouring the hangovers trying to get through it.
that was your instruction, wasn't it?
I told Troy that if you can take a yoga class for Jungle Brothers members, it needs to be a good challenge.
Power yoga.
Yeah. Otherwise, they'll lose interest.
Tie-dye was after that as well.
Tie-dye, yep. So
Workshop with-
tie-dye workshop with Sue and Megan. And they got it. I think they got about 12 people do some tie-dyes with them.
Yeah, I saw a lot of tie-dye creations up on the line.
They look great.
Looked fucking awesome.
They did so well. They didn't quite dry after they washed them because it was damp all weekend.
Yep.
So she took them home, she dried them all, and she brought them all back here, folded,
What a ledge.
tied up in little Christmassy type packages with cards with their names on it.
So
So
nice.
Fahelko
That
did
is
too.
lovely.
Yeah. So he got his today. He was stoked.
Yeah. And then we had intention and reflections, and then just writing some stuff down.
How'd you go with that? You ran that, didn't you?
I was a little bit munted, but it was all right.
You
It was
had
good.
You had Jacob on
I
the
lost my
bongos.
notes, so there's a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't do the way I wanted to do it, but we still got through it. And then we did some sound meditation after, and that was with Jacob on the trombone. Yeah, and the piano and the what's the African drum called again?
Djembe.
Yeah, it was really
that it?
nice. Yeah,
Djembe.
I think so.
Ah.
yeah.
DJMB.
And then there was the
Salsa with Nick?
no, before salsa there was Lira with Haley. So there's an acro workshop, and then the salsa was the last one.
Right on.
Friday evening. That was salsa with Nick and his missus.
Fucking hell.
They did amazing.
It was an action-packed weekend.
It was just, visually spectacular. So many talented people doing what they do best. We also, Jared did his Poker Face whiskey
Yep.
Oh,
on the
It
Saturday.
was very popular.
That was big, yeah. But it was just amazing. I mean, a lot of people came that weren't part of the gym, like partners and some friends and family.
Kids.
And they were just fucking blown off their feet.
Yeah.
All of them came up at one stage and said, I can't believe this is a gym. It didn't kind of make sense. It didn't match up. It wasn't what they were expecting, put it that way.
Not at all.
Yeah, just a bit too artistic for your standard gym junkies.
Vic's mate said to me, fuck, man, all the guys here are so built. And then he's like, oh, that's right. It's a gym Christmas party. Yeah, it was cool, man. It was so many different. It was like different chapters to the nights and to the even the days. And you could get involved in the workshop stuff, or you could go just hang out and make some food, or you could go to your tent. You could go swim in the river. You could hang out with the kids.
Read a book.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was like no stress.
Paul did a trip down the river. Pavel took him up to the top of the river on a kayak.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah, we checked it on the top of his... When he left,
Yep.
I just pounced on the opportunity and we threw the kayak on the top and we drove. And it was funny because we were on a private property and ended up having to turn around. We got some advice from them and found a spot. Yeah, just dragged the kayak over a barbed wire fence across some private property.
You and the boys.
And Pavel helped.
Yep.
And then just to get us in on a steep bank there, and then we kayaked down back to the camp.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was mad.
Like how long did you get to kayak for?
Oh, maybe 40 minutes.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
It looks... You move a lot slower than you think.
Right.
I thought it was going to go really, really fast. But even though you don't really have to paddle because the whole thing was moving, especially with the rain, it just goes really slowly. And the river's windy, but kind of you can still... Like it's straight. It doesn't move very fast past you.
Yeah.
So it was very slow and chilled and it was good.
Oh, wow, what a nice thing to do.
Nice little moment. But yeah, it was a great weekend. Yeah, but come off a little tired, of course.
Naturally.
As you do. A few late nights.
We find ourselves 3 days away from Christmas, which means Jim's kind of operating for another couple of days. And I guess by the time folks are listening to this, it'll be past Christmas. But we want to talk about a bit of a survival guide for the holidays because, as we know, people go off the rails a little bit at Christmas time, which they should. However, there's always a couple of kind of cool things that we do. I think sort of not particularly consciously, just ways that we manage ourselves when you're on holidays and you're hanging out and eating and drinking, whatever. That's kind of helpful to not completely derail. I don't know. I don't want to say progress because it's not like we're looking to progress through Christmas and stuff, but it's sort of part of this just living healthy all the time and making good choices.
Yeah, finding a bit of balance.
Yeah.
In it's very unbalanced time of year, I believe.
Yeah.
Christmas. With a lot of things, lots of shit crap around to eat.
Like just
lots of booze
shit that
around.
you don't even want, but it's there.
And lots of spare time. And sometimes subjected to, people that you don't usually hang out with. Like they're just family friends and that kind of stuff. And that's subjected to different crowds and different culture. That makes an impact as well.
Yeah.
Especially if you're training a lot and all your friends are training a lot, and then all of a sudden you're in a group of people that like to eat shit and drink,
Yeah.
which happens a lot too. So it's just how to navigate your way through those kind of little scenarios and environments.
What's your sort of Christmas day setup like? Is it like big family thing with Dee's fam and stuff, or is it small and boutique?
Every year is a little bit different. Every second year we spend it with Dee's mum and dad because they go away every second year. So when they go away, we usually go away. So we might head up to my mum's. But yeah, that day, it doesn't matter where it is, there's usually a lot of food involved.
Yeah.
Like way more than your stomach can handle, and lots of different choices, which makes things. This is the tough part, you just have the huge variety of different. You got a whole zoo on the table, and then on top of that, snacks and hors d'oeuvres and cakes to finish, and
it's not a celebration unless there's multiple
through.
Animals to eat in the one sitting.
Yeah, it knocks the body around if you're not careful.
Yeah.
I think setting a few parameters allows you to still enjoy what's in front of you, still be social, because a lot of the times, you can swing the other way and be that person that's just like, no, I'm not going to eat anything that's going to be bad for me. I'm not going to have a drink with everyone. And you just end up being potentially a bit of a bore unless you're just a really upbeat person. If you live like that all the time, I think it's a bit different. But if it's a choice that you make, sometimes it can be a little bit antisocial. So it's good to be able to find a little bit of balance there where you can still interact, enjoy the food that's on display, have a little bit of a drink, but not suffer for it for the next month or two.
And I think anyone who knows us, and maybe for some folks listening, they might not know this, but we're not in any way hardline gym guys. Like, we like to drink, we like to party, we like to have late nights, we like to eat shit food. Like, but we don't. But we do those things kind of, you know, at times sparingly when we feel the need to. But for the majority of the time, we're making pretty good food choices, and staying relatively healthy. So we feel that I think we could all agree we have like a nice balance to how we manage that. And I think from the outside, a lot of people can look in and see, you know, whatever, how we look and what we do for a living and think, oh, you guys are like super strict, disciplined 100% of the time. And we're telling you that we're not. But we do have some cool little techniques that allow us to navigate times like this in a way that's not completely off the charts.
Yeah.
I can relate to the family dues with lots of food, lots of different food. And I reckon I got that wrong for so many years. And also when we used to work in the film industry, you know, with the catering, so many good foods, salads, sides, breakfast, there's 10 different things to eat. For so long, I used to eat every single thing on the table.
Yeah, you can just
Some
turn
of
into
it.
a bit of a glutton.
Yeah,
you know?
like I used to have muesli, then the hot, you know, and fruit,
Then the
yogurt,
congee.
and then the congee, and then have the hot breakfast type thing. And like at the family dues, you know, especially at the Islander ones, it's the mountain plate stack and the technique. You know, get the rice on one side,
Build a little wall with the taro.
wall, yeah, and then you've got the chop suey, and then you boom, you just keep going on the little mountain type thing. But I've learnt, it took me, I was a slow learner, that you don't actually enjoy it at the very end of it. You have a little bit of everything. The sauces mix, the coconut milk goes into the curry, and it's just like you don't actually enjoy it that much. And you
Yeah, it
end
turns
up,
into a bit of a slop.
it does, and you overeat, you know, and you feel gross. And it's usually, like for me,
And then you're like lying on a couch.
yes,
you're like,
exactly.
"Ah,
it's like nap
fucked
time.
up."
Yeah, I
Don't
forgot
want to
that.
talk to anyone.
I can't even have a beer now because there's no room.
Gut sore.
Yeah,
Sweat.
sore gut. Yeah, and it's usually also back to back. It's like 3 days of eating. We got kind of big families, Tash and I, so it's like half of her family one day, half of my family another day, half her other half, and then my other half of the Central Coast type thing.
Fuck.
So you end up getting.
You got like 3 different events there, kind of?
We have 3.
I think that a lot of people are like that. I mean, this Christmas might be a bit different because
Yeah,
of the whole
yeah,
COVID
yeah.
thing, but generally, like, you visit one or at least 2 different
people got
locations.
split families.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got kids and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and everywhere you go, people want to feed you,
Yeah.
or you want to put food on, and you're obliged to eat.
Yeah,
you know?
and then it's hard to say no, but you just get this compounding fullness. You know what I mean? You don't really kind of get over it for
Yeah.
like a week. But anyway, I've learnt to choose the stuff, the stuff that I really, really appreciate, or the stuff that I rarely get to eat, and I will just focus on like 3 things, and I will just eat those, and I won't touch anything else. So usually when I go like this Sunday, I'll be eating the Fijian foods, and I'll stay away from the rest because I don't get it that often. So I'll just be having polisami, like fish and lolo type thing, and then I will have like the curry and roti. But I won't like try to have the prawns as well. I try to have the bucket of KFC and slop it all on one type of thing.
There's bucket of KFC there?
Potentially.
Oh, fuck, that's mad.
Someone always brings one.
That's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
Oh,
But you know,
fucked up.
I know.
That's the best.
But yeah, so I'll just try to stick to the things, and in there I'm going, you know, for the traditional stuff, the stuff that's the soul food that makes me feel like Christmas, and I'm glad that it's mainly whole foods, those foods as well. So I'm like having a bit of taro with the fish and the lolo, and then I'm having curry and roti, and like I'll have a healthy sized helping of those things. Not just like little helpings of everything, you know, snack on this, walk around eating the freaking cheeses and the you know, cracker platter for the first 2 hours, and by the time you get to eat, you're not enjoying it anyway.
Yeah, limit the snacks.
Limit the snacks.
Limit the snacks. In fact, I
Limit
steer
the
clear of the snacks altogether, generally.
there's a funny thing that happens to us humans, isn't there, when we're given like more choices with food, where we feel the need to take everything. You see it at buffets, and I think
it's gluttony.
It really is.
You know where I saw it the
and it's
most?
a fear of missing out.
Yeah. Alex got me a ticket to the Formula One, and it was like the premium tent. All these fucking yuppies dressed in fancy attire. It was anything but my scene, and we watched like it was all the food was, and all the food and alcohol was free
in Australia.
Here in Australia, yeah. In Melbourne was the big one down at Melbourne. I forgot what it's called. Formula One Grand Prix, and every time some young girl would come out with these like platters of fancy little hors d'oeuvres and bits and pieces of stuff, like cheesy things and then fucking
fried shit.
Yeah, fried shit and then fishy things, and that would be like this fucking horde of like vultures just like attacking this plate of these people like in all these beautiful clothes, just mauling these plates
Homer
of
Simpson
food,
style.
and then another one would come out with like another tray just covered in beers, and people would be grabbing like 3 or 4 beers each, and I was just like, this is fucking gross. Like, it's disgusting. I felt foul even being a part of it. We actually bailed because it was disgusted me that much. To be honest, it was like the worst of humanity all in one party.
What do you think it is?
I know this is gluttony.
It's fucking gluttony.
Where does it come from?
It's it comes from when we didn't have anything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And we just needed to.
There's like 3 berries on a tree, and there's 4 of you.
Yeah, and you just fight for all of it.
Like it's your last meal.
Yeah, and I think it's so inbuilt into our wiring, and you look at all the countries where they don't have this amazing opportunity of surplus food supply, where people are fighting for it, and everyone's pretty lean and getting by and whatever. And then you look at all of us in the West, and we're all overweight and puffy. And it's like a really bad like crossroads of, we've still got the same biology that we've had for all of these millions of years, and then we've now got this surplus food supply, and it's just like ruining us.
It's like this primal instinct of a lizard. You know what I mean? Like, it's that deep and that old. But you would think that with all of this evolution that's taken part in the human brain, and you see it in like strong communities, the ability to share equally could be applied to the wealthy. But in this particular situation, it was like everyone had reverted back to their inner lizard.
I did a similar thing. Misa and I went and saw a DJ play last year, and we got VIP tickets. And it just meant that there was a certain section of the club that we could be in, and it was free alcohol. And she doesn't really drink that much. And so for some reason, I just felt compelled to make use of the free alcohol for the 2 of us. So I drank a bunch. I mean, I didn't get belligerent, but I was drunk. And I got
drunk.
I drunk. And I got more drunk than I wanted to be. And I looked and I was like, fuck, that was stupid.
What did I do that for?
But it was just because it was free drinks, that I'm like, yeah, I'll get another drink. Oh, I'm going to go get another drink,
This also happens at the Christmas parties. Like
the cracking
not
beers at 11
necessarily
a.m.
ours, because we didn't supply free food and free alcohol. But
right, yeah.
If you're working under the big boss and you're like, oh, sweet, boss is paying for everything, I'm ordering entrees, I'm ordering biggest main, I'm going to get the biggest dessert.
Shots.
Yeah.
I'm going to get as many alcohol,
champagne,
how many drinks I can. Who's losing out in the end?
Yes. Well, and that's the thing. You don't enjoy any of this shit. So you can have the biggest plate of food, which, I mean, sometimes when you're super hungry, it's delicious. But usually you kind of enjoy part of whatever you're eating or drinking. And then the rest of it, you're just like, oh, I'm fucking so full and I took so much food. And it's
there goes the rest of your evening.
Yeah, it's not even, there's not even a lot of pleasure at the time. Plus then there's this ongoing thing of, you're gluttonous and you're overeating and
feeling
overconsuming.
like shit for 3 days. So how do we avoid being a glutton?
I really like what you do, and I kind of do a similar thing, Paul, where I I just choose like a few things. So I like I think about the best meals that I've had, and when you go to a restaurant or someone's house and you really enjoy a meal, and it's usually when there's like one or maybe two sources of protein and like one carbohydrate, and then a salad or some vegetable dish or a couple, but there's really only a few things to eat. And so I replicate the same thing. I go like, oh, there's like a duck salad that my mum makes that I really love that only comes around at Christmas time. I smash that. And then there's ham. I always like ham. And then maybe we have like these creamy potatoes, and I avoid this, my auntie makes like 2 vegetarian salads. There's sometimes like a fish thing. I'm just like, I'm not interested in any of that. I could be if that was all that was here. But yeah, I just keep to like, and it's funny because I always get those comments from family like, oh, have you had any of the blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no, I haven't. And they're like, you have to have some. It's really nice. But you're like, it's all really nice. Like, yeah. We don't have to eat it all now.
You can treat the buffet like a menu rather than just a
have to have everything.
Trough.
Yeah.
So look at everything and say, okay, just that's the menu, and
it's a good way of putting
got one carbohydrate. A salad, big leafy green salad is always good. Lots of leafy greens over Christmas is great.
If you can get half your plate filled with that stuff.
Yeah, because it's not going to depending on what the dressing is, of course, but most of the time they're pretty safe, and you can fill your plate up and still be involved and come out the other end good for it, and then limit the options, just restrict them. I would highly advise either choosing one dessert or none, just getting rid of dessert altogether.
Don't do multiples.
Definitely don't do multiple desserts. Danger zone. Big danger zone.
Split it up. Maybe have one after lunch if you want, and then you can have one after leftovers at dinner time.
Yeah, and limit your booze. Maybe have a beer before, and then a glass of wine, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Jill Crosby?
Yeah.
This is mutual family friends of my family and Joe's family. She's been coming to Kate's. This is my mother-in-law's Christmas Eve dinner. And actually she comes to a couple of dinners every year. She, like, ever since I've known her, maybe 20 years or whatever, she's never eaten dessert at the house. She always takes the dessert away in a container.
Oh, wow.
That's just her thing.
And enjoys it later.
Yeah, yes. You never plate anything for her. You always have it in a container. And she's like, I can't. She's like, I can't enjoy it because I'm too full. So we've always got one on the side for her.
That's smart.
It's not a bad tactic.
That's a good tactic.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever, I'm sure you guys probably don't think about this, but a really good guide that I picked up, and I don't use this either, but I think for some people it's like, there's a real tendency to, like, say you do choose that, say you go, okay, I'll have 1 or 2 proteins, 1 serve of carbs, some big thing of salad, but there's still this tendency to like overfill your plate and just overeat because there is such an abundance of food. Have you guys ever heard of the thing that Precision Nutrition do with the hand reference? And so they say like, great. A palm-sized piece of protein, and then they say a fistful of carbohydrate, and a hand size, I believe, of leafy greens or vegetables. Yep. And then you can have like a thumb of fat. So that's like a thumb, like a piece of cheese or, something like that. But they're like, it's a really simple guide just to keep you from overeating. And I think for folks who maybe realize, fuck, I don't actually know, I'm not very good at controlling myself with that, it's a really handy reference to go off.
Yeah, really easy.
Yeah.
Also, weight of your plate, believe it or not, is a good one as well. So if your plate's getting heavy, like if you start to feel like your biceps start to fatigue a little, then you got to fucking jettison some of that.
That's right.
And the more calorie dense foods generally weigh more as well.
Yeah. 100%. That's how those per kilogram buffets work.
Yeah. Oh.
They have those in Brazil, which are fucking awesome. You go amazing stuff, but you go through, pick your plate, and then you put it on scales, and they have a per kilo price.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and the restaurant advertises its price out the front. You're like, oh, it's only charging £7 per kilo. Yeah, it's good.
Remember when we were in Germany and we were having those ham sandwiches in the bakeries?
Yeah,
and they put mayo. They have some sort of sauce, big slices of ham, fresh, hot, and then the crackling is separate. and that's by the scale as well. It's like so many dollars per kilogram. And they say, how much would you like? And they get the tongs and they put it on the scales. You're like, I'll get a little bit more. And then they weigh that and price that separately and then shove the crackling on that as well. And like crush it down in this crispy roll.
Oh, fuck, they were good sandwiches.
I was going to say with the meal thing, so because we've talked about the individual meals and on the day those meals, but the planning out of the week of eating, or, you know, it's that when Luke Tulloch came on, and he really opened my mind to the idea of counting calories and looking over the week blocks. And I thought that just made so much sense to me.
As opposed to the day.
As opposed to the day and chasing that calorie count on the day, because really it's a very hard one to manage, and it's a type of micromanaging. But if you manage over a week, it makes much more sense. So, yeah, say I've got the big lunch, and then the next day I've got like another lunch. So it's just a consideration that when you have the big meals, don't have a big breakfast. Don't do what you usually do when you wake up and you're automatic. Your eyes are a bit bleary and you get the cereal out or the muesli and you just start doing your regular breakfast day. Like obviously save it for the lunchtime. Curb it a little bit.
The fucking muesli. Let me just interject a story about muesli.
Okay.
So T wakes up Saturday morning at the camp, right? Drunk. Right. Friday night he was drunk. He's hungover. And I'm like, T, you in your tent? And he's like, and I'm like, man, come over. I'll make you breakfast. Come over to my tent. So
we were neighbours.
Yeah.
We were right next door to each other.
Down the back. Where it was very damp.
Yeah. But it was quiet.
Yeah, it was quiet. I was like, I'll sort you out, bro. Let me make you breakfast. So I put on lamb chops, brought these sick lamb chops.
Awesome.
Fried eggs.
You cooked down the bottom there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Couple of big tortillas.
That was the morning sauce. I was like, I haven't seen Joe or T all morning.
Yeah.
Are they alive?
It was fucking breakfast of kings, right?
Oh, wow.
And T's like, you know, like this food brought him back to life. I literally watched him transform in front of my very eyes. Anyway, T's like, man, let me help you clean up. And I'm like, no, dude, it's my campsite. I know how everything works. Like, don't worry about it. You just make me breakfast tomorrow, you know? And T's like, cool, man, I got you. And so anyway, we enjoy the Saturday. Obviously the big party Saturday night. Sunday morning comes, T and I kind of wander up to the camp together and T says, would you like me to make you breakfast? And I'm like, man, that would be awesome, you know? And I'm like, sick, what's it going to be? Bacon, halloumi, eggs, you know, what are we doing? And I'm like, dude, what do you got? And T said, oh, I've got muesli and yogurt.
Full fat. Buffalo yogurt. Delicious.
I'm like, get the fuck out of here, bro. How dare you?
The look he gave me.
Oh, God.
So what'd you have?
He was lining up outside Alan's Cafe.
Oh, yeah, he had the big steaks.
Street store.
Chicken skewers with gherkins and barbecue sauce in pitta pockets.
No way.
Yeah, I must have like
amazing.
4.
Whoa.
That's so good. Oh, he's such a feeder. Such a good guy.
Oh, man.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I think Opie, my sister's kid, he's 2 years old, found that. Betty said, oh, he found Alan over there. Alan's like, apparently was just feeding him like chunks of beautiful meat that he had brought and cooked in the wood fire.
Oh, the steak,
he was just hanging out with him. Opie's a good eater. Oh, okay, I missed that one.
But yeah, that's a great point you make. That like, okay, if you're going to have these really quite big meals that are very rich, then you can just sort of have a smaller meal either at breakfast and at dinner, or you can tailor the rest of the day or even the next day.
Yeah, and then I was also going to say to offset that and balance that out with movement of any sort, holiday style movement. If you want to do some training, that's unreal, but even walks, you know, going for a walk or going to the beach and going for a swim.
Going for a run.
We're going up to the Central Coast if COVID allows it on Boxing Day. On Boxing Day, we have a lunch. Get this. So we have lunch on Christmas Day. That's with my family. On Boxing Day, we have a lunch with Tasha's dad and all the sister wives. And then on the evening, we drive up to the Central Coast to be with Leah and all the cousins. And then we have like a dinner there.
Oh.
It's like a big kind of like thing. But
Boxing Day dinner.
Boxing Day dinner.
Wow.
But I've scheduled in a big bushwalk on the next morning because we're going to stay there one night. And I was like, we usually hang around. I was like, well, we should just do a big walk after that. So it's just that kind of thing where you're like, eat a meal, it's also part of freaking spending time together, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go and do something nice, go for a walk.
Totally.
Or whatever it is that you want to do.
And that's a good little transition into like the do you train? What are you doing over this time? Because it is, I think for a lot of people, especially like that, where you've got family event after family event over 2 days or 3 days.
Different postcodes.
You're really not moving a lot. You're in the car a lot. And you're sitting down at a table. And You're sitting on the couch.
A lot of sitting.
Yeah. A lot of just hanging out.
Chatting, digesting. I think it's a really good idea to have breakfast before you go to a big lunch. Because sometimes you have this urge, like, I'm just not going to eat until I get there.
Oh, yes.
And you're like, the whole day, this is a mindset thing, you know what I mean? And you're like, oh, I'm not going to eat. And I'll pull back the day before so you can go hard when you get there. I think that's a fucking mistake. Like, you're better off having a bit of brekkie. So when you get there, you're like, oh, I'm actually not that hungry. Yeah. So you just have a normal sized meal instead of turning into a glutton. You know?
Yeah, I can see that.
It's true. However, do you ever get surprised when you're with certain folks who don't, because that implies that you have good regulation of your appetite.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, I've had breakfast. I'm not super hungry right now. So therefore my lunch is, moderate. I watch people who maybe they have breakfast and then they're not that hungry and then they still eat the biggest fucking lunch. And then they do the same thing at dinner time. And you're like, but you weren't hungry. And they're like, yeah, but I can eat. I mean, Paul's got a little bit of that.
Have had.
But do you know what I mean? I feel like it can go either way.
Possibly,
depending on what you like, on what your relationship is with food.
Yeah. I spent 5 days on a Fairstar Fun Ship filming a commercial for Fairstar. It was very interesting 5 days. It was funny because we were filming this fit fam, like fit dad, fit mum, fit kids, and they were doing fit stuff on the boat, and then they'd go like fit exercise on the islands that you'd stop at. But it was really strange because we'd have this scene of fit fam doing fit stuff on the boat, and then you'd just kind of be looking at that, and then they'd say cut, and as soon as they say cut, your vision would expand to everyone else on the boat, and there were literally no fit fams on the boat, and it was full of people. They were just big.
Wow.
I'm not trying to be rude, like big and hungry.
Yeah.
And every single meal on that boat is buffet, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Fuck yeah.
I've never seen plates, and I've been on a lot of Polynesian dudes. I've seen some big plates, but I've never seen plates packed up at the size that these plates were packed up on. And I'm talking breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Jesus.
And then during the day, it was those big, those yard glass things, like they look like something you should put flowers in.
Yeah.
They would fill that. You'd get that filled with like a slushy, but like a cocktail. So it'd be like booze, sugar, and slushy.
Did that have a lanyard? Bro, I've seen those with lanyards.
What's that?
The drink vessel?
Yeah, the vessel. It's got like a lanyard. It goes around your neck so you can hang.
Yes, you can hang it.
Yeah.
And the straw's just like stuck near your mouth.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So you don't even have to move your arms. You
it's
just
like a little
turn
alto
your head
sax.
And suck on it. But the weirdest thing was the hallways of the boat smelt of shit, but because, the shit would slush around as you're going through the open ocean.
Like
but
feces,
the shit
like sewage.
Yeah, the sewage would smelt like the slushy.
Oh God!
Yeah. And
no.
Yes, yeah, totally. And the food, because it's all frozen. After a while, your poo started turning into like soft serve. There's no fiber in it.
Oh God!
Yeah, it was horrible.
No,
it was horrible. Even the salad.
How do we get onto this?
Had sugar in it.
Rank.
Everything had sugar in it because it probably keeps it from going off.
He's going on a cruise for Christmas, so he just
that one. Yeah, was not a big fan of that one.
God.
I mean, it was great job, great experience.
Kind of makes me want to vomit in my mouth.
Yeah, it was foul. It was like one big floating shit tank.
So where was your point with that?
I'm hoping no one's got any cruises booked, because if there's a couple of things to come out of COVID, don't jump on a fucking cruise for a while.
Don't get it.
Jesus.
Floating sewage tanks. Oof.
So,
not a big fan.
So here's the thing that people often say when you like say it's Christmas or it's Boxing Day, it's sometime around then, and you want to go out and train a little bit. You're like, oh, I'm just going to go put my rings up, or I'm going to do something. And you get that person that's like, oh, can't you even relax? It's Christmas time. Can't you just take one day off training? You ever get that?
Yeah, yes, that's the kind of person that I like to rope into the training session. Come on, you'll love that.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
Get off your ass. Let's go.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, what's the what I see when someone says that is my impression is that, oh, this person thinks that I punish myself. Like they think that I do this because I'm like paying for my sins or whatever. And sometimes
The rosaries.
maybe there's an element of that, right? Where I'm like, I want to do a session because I feel kind of lazy and I haven't moved, whatever. But for the most part, I'm doing it because I like it and it makes me enjoy my day more. And then, and it has a beneficial effect on my mindset. And, all
burn
that.
some calories.
Exactly.
You move your digestive system. People forget the body's a pump.
Right?
So if you stop moving it and then you fill it with shit, it's not a good combination. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get things moving. So if you're going to put more food down your gob, then you should be using the musculature in your body to help digest it all,
Got to get that CLR slushy down there.
Oh,
Get the pipes cleaned.
But that's right. I mean, it makes you enjoy the gluttony a bit more. Like you feel
That's what I say.
You feel like you're going to go on this bushwalk and you're going to come back and you go, sick. We all fucking walked a little bit. It was a little bit challenging in parts.
Let's warm up the leftovers.
And now everyone's psyched to eat and
Yeah.
you're going to sleep well.
Yeah.
Rather than I'm just going to be, I'm going to not do anything but put food in my face. And the result of that is that you end up not really enjoying the whole process because you feel like
lethargic.
you feel like shit.
Yeah.
It's the same as everyone when they walk out of the gym, they feel excellent. It's like you got to move. Your body will reward you for it.
Totally. On that, I just end up hanging out with the kids if it's like that, as in like the teenagers.
Game of footy.
Yeah,
They're moving.
Yeah, I'm like, let's go to the wharf. Let's go to the wharf. Take the football,
wharf,
throw it all the
explore
way to
some
the
stuff.
wharf, and then jump off the wharf and do something like that.
Some dancing.
But yeah, I think it's in the way that you think about it. I guess I think I have had that conversation before. I feel like it's less and less, maybe because people know me now when we're a bit older.
Yeah.
So you're not hanging around so many mid-20s friends or whatever it is.
Yeah. You've cut all of those ties by now.
You cut them all, yeah. And it's not like a training session. It's like I'm just gonna go down to the beach for a bit type thing. And depending on who you're with, I wouldn't necessarily advertise it. Hey, I'm going for a session or something like that. But yeah, roping them in is always a good one. Don't really let them know what it is and tell them to come. Yeah, come out. We'll go for a swim.
Good one.
Have a little play on that.
You take the old the tire tube with the rope on it, and you chuck kids in them and you pull them along the beach.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's fantastic.
Like sled drag.
Yeah, and I usually rope everyone into doing a couple of rounds. Like, your turn, come on, your turn.
And they don't know
and the
it.
kids are like, yeah, come on. Oh, man.
Uncle T's faster than you.
After about 20 minutes, everyone's just completely lactic out because it looks like fun. You're like, that looks like fun. And then you do a couple and you're like heaving. It's fucking hard work, bro.
That was a good one.
Because you're sprinting through the water.
You got a tie that it's on the water, not on the sand.
Yeah, just like on the
wake.
on the wake.
Yeah.
So, but it's still like the sand sucks you in, the water washes up.
Not the wake. We had that part you skimboard on.
Yeah.
And you have to get enough speed to get the tire to like plane.
Right.
So you really do have to sprint. It's great.
Where do you got this tire that sits in your garage that you take with you?
Yep.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, it's great.
I might have to get
You
one
do.
of those.
I always kind of said, all right, I'm going to get at least 10 out. Kids make you do more because they don't want to stop. And then whoever's down there with me, I'm just like, you're up. And you can't really say no to that because the kids are just like, come on.
You're a party pooper.
And
if
they're
you don't.
behind you just whipping you.
Yeah.
Faster.
That's so good.
That's the best.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, kids are good for anything like that. If you go with them and get in the water, do the
Playing tip with them.
Tips or tips in the water, on the shoulders, battles, throwing them out of the water.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
horsies.
you just throw them
They're the
out.
best.
Horsies or, alley-oops, like do 30 of those.
Cartwheels.
You know? Yeah, they're just good. You just hang out with the kids if they're also not doing anything. Yeah.
Bit of a surf.
Pair of rings hanging up in the local vicinity is always good.
Rings are always good.
Yeah.
Kids will go to those, and then that kind of encourages you. I'll go out and play around, show you some stuff.
100%.
Yeah, people that have they have an interest in something like that too because they watch and they're like, oh, that's interesting. And they're like, oh, how do I do this or how do I do that? And you show them like a front support or, stand chin up or something.
Whereas if you brought the dumbbell set out from the boot
treadmill.
of your car,
You
you
look
just
like a
scattered them
douchebag.
around the picnic.
It's
Treadmill.
called a bicep curl. Come try it.
Stationary bike.
Don't leave home without it. I just sold my stationary bike, the one I bought for my knee rehab.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, sick. I
Sad-
sold it for
sad
like
day.
$20 extra than I bought it.
Oh.
I was so psyched. Yeah, it's mad.
Invest that 20.
Yeah, 100%. Straight to my super. But yeah, so the training, it's not like a training session. You just get outside and start doing some shit.
Yeah.
This is what I'm picking up.
Or if you are going to train, or for me, if I'm doing like a week or two away from home, I need to train over a time that long, without a doubt. And the best time to do it, and this is even if I'm on a holiday, like out of Sydney, it's always early because your day gets filled up with fun stuff, go visit sightseeing or you're visiting friends or family. So if you can get that early training session in, get up before anyone else is up and just get out and do it, then the rest of your day is awesome.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah.
So true.
And you don't, your body's digested. Don't eat before you do it. Just get out of bed.
Yeah.
Put your shoes on, get the fuck out. Like if you sit down and have brekkie and coffee, then someone wakes up and then all of a sudden you're in a conversation and then before you know it, it's 10 a.m. It's too hot.
Yeah.
And you miss that boat and then you've had maybe something shit that you shouldn't have eaten and then you're like, oh, there's other things distracting you.
Yeah, and you tell yourself, I'll do it in the Ovo. I'll do it in the Ovo before we start the dinner process
And
or
then you got
whatever.
that shit feeling in your back of your head thinking, fuck, I need to train.
Yeah, you get that little bit of anxiety. And then someone's like, oh, you want a beer? Fuck.
Yeah, morning sessions are really, really handy.
Yeah, I'm the same. I haven't trained since, when did we leave? I haven't trained since Thursday because we left for the camp on Friday. And like sort of 3 or 4 days to me is not really a problem, especially that because we were walking around, being quite active at the party. But
On the dance floor?
on the dance floor, cutting rugs. But if
Twerking
I'm away
burns
for
the
4
cows.
days over Christmas,
What was that?
Twerking burns twice as many cows as square
Handstand
dancing.
twerk.
Handstand twerk. It was attempted. Don't worry.
Noni,
No. Initials.
Someone
JR.
attempted
like a freestanding or
handstand.
against the wall?
Attempted. She did it. It was it's a chest to wall, basically.
Yeah.
Twerking.
I invented that at the old gym.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
you did a
Well,
handstand twerk?
Yeah.
like that's a.
When
you know,
it was remember that drill I used to do, good line, bad line?
Yeah.
So you go up in your chest to wall and then you arch through the back, stick your bum out, and then you pull into a good line. And then you go between the two. And then when you go like fast, all of a sudden
Just twerking.
your butt just
Joe's
starts
flexing
wobbling.
and extending now
Yeah.
as we speak, listeners. He's kind of like, and his eyes are like, his tongue kind of fell outside of his mouth while he was doing it there for a second. It's like, yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember what the fuck I was saying. something. Yeah, 4 days. Like if I'm chilling out with the family for 4 days, I'll do the same thing. I might get there on the first day and kind of hang out, but then by the second day, I'll think, no, I'm gonna do some kind of session here.
Yeah.
And do 5 sets of some push-ups and pull-ups and some squats or just something, because it is so rewarding when I do. And it only takes 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's such a mental win, and the carryover to the next day and to that evening, it's immense. And when I don't do it, I'm like, why don't I just go and just do 10 minutes of exercise?
Yeah. Better for your mindset too.
100%. That's really the biggest thing, I think.
And you also get a little bit of time out, which I think is also important for yourself and everyone else that you're living in each other's
is so
pockets
true.
with for so long.
That is so true.
You know, you're always, the less time you're in a big group, the more popular you are. You notice that?
Good point.
if you're the
When
person
you're a little
that's
bit
there
unavailable.
all the time, then people run out of shit to talk to you about. So you kind of leave and come
Whoa.
back, and they're like, "Whoa, where you been? What have you been up to?
That's
Fresh
so
energy."
true. Yeah, that is so true.
It tells you a lot about T, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's right.
Oh, I've been around.
I know.
Wow, it was awesome.
Oh, doing the sick thing that you
So
weren't.
good.
That's right.
You know what else I like actually being on the road, and I might do it this year, is visiting another gym.
Oh yeah.
If you're like somewhere
Yes.
where there's gyms, you're like, oh, maybe I can go and
Great
do a
idea.
CrossFit
Yeah.
class there, or I might go and visit Will at Ghetto Movement.
Yes.
If he's doing anything, because I'll be at mum and dad's.
Mm.
But yeah, it's such a good time to go and drop in at another place and just do something. And fuck, if you turn up at another gym to a class, you're going to get a good workout and you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, and it could be any class,
Yeah.
really.
Even
Yeah.
if you're in the middle of nowhere and you go to like another gym that's like Anytime Fitness or whatever, it's kind of like fun. Just 'cause
there's a novelty to it.
Yeah, and you can do your old boring workout that you usually do, but you know that works for you, and everyone thinks it's mad that's watching. You're like, oh, I know these are my old drills.
Just lizard
feel like they're
crawling
new.
through the middle of the weight section.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Can I just move these dumbbells, guys? I want you to use the wall for some handstands.
Exactly,
Cold
that's what I'm talking
movement.
about. Ouch.
Yeah, it's true. You can get on the benchies,
Benchies.
do all the different
It's
types
fun.
of benchies, incline, decline,
Yeah.
flies.
Yeah.
Mad.
Boxing bag. Finding a boxing bag is awesome over Chrissy.
If you're a striker.
If you like to, you don't even, but you don't even need to be a striker. You could just bash it.
I could hurt my wrist.
You could hang off it.
Yeah.
Practice your
Close guard.
close
Close
guard.
guard setups on it.
Just do like circles around it, without your feet touching the ground.
What do you do? So if you're like, say you're someone here, you've done a bit of Fight Factory, you don't mind having a hit, but you've never really done your own kind of boxing bag workout. What could be a real easy little routine that you do with a heavy bag?
You got to get the Tabata timer.
Yeah, just get the timer.
Tabata timer, free one, and just set it for rounds,
Yeah.
whatever your time is, and just
Yeah.
choose a limb, choose a strike.
Yeah, you
and
could
just
literally
go.
just do round kick on one leg for 2 minutes, and then switch to the other leg, and then straight punches for the next, and then
Singles.
knees for the next, and then always finish on like a freestyle, and just go as hard as you can.
Right.
And that could look as ridiculous as you want.
Yeah.
It's hard to hurt yourself on a bag. Like you have to be pretty uncoordinated.
Reckless.
On pads, it's different because you got to gauge how much pressure the person's putting in against you. But on a stationary bag, you subconsciously, most people will protect their joints.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you do
Pull
2
back on the power a
2
bit.
minutes of work, and then you take 30 seconds rest between
Yeah,
sets?
30 seconds, minute.
And you might-
have
so
a
if
little
you-
stretch in between.
So you might end up doing like 6 rounds or something.
Yeah,
if you're
6 to
doing-
8 rounds.
Yeah, okay.
You know, just you want to leave huffing and puffing with a good sweat.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's a fantastic tool. I hung one up at my mum's house, but I also built a squat rack and chin up bars and rings.
You like training there, don't you?
Yeah, I do. It's great. And she's got a big hill up the back that I'll hit, and I record my times every time I go up there. And over the years, it's slowly gotten slower.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's motivating.
I'm like, oh my gosh, add another minute. Well, time's going
How
up.
long's the hill?
I usually get, I got to go. It's like they're rolling hills, and it probably takes me, on average, it hasn't been slowly going up. It depends. Actually, what it depends on is the weather. So when it's really hot, then my time goes down. But it's been pretty consistent.
Here we go.
It's been pretty consistent, but it takes me
Sounds
between
like you were slacking
18,
in those initial
18
years.
to like 18 to 30 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's a big gap there.
So
Like
when
somewhere
it's
in
hotter,
there.
it's slower. The time's slower.
Yeah, much slower. But it's one of
It's
those
like
hills
warming.
that
It's all tying in now.
really hot. If you leave it too late.
that's a long, fast run, 18 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, and it's steep.
Yeah.
Steep, but it's good. So I'll do the run, then I come back and I'll have a lift or do some ring work.
Hills, that's such a good one. Like, and just the idea of if you do train in a gym, outdoor activities or outdoor training modalities that you don't usually do.
Yeah,
it's like
big
such a novelty.
stones.
Like, I'd be so into that.
Single trail's awesome because you're doing a little bit of sightseeing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a good runner to do it because the ground slows you down and everything's uneven. So you just kind of work it out.
Forces you to run with good technique.
Yep. Bushwalking is awesome. I think, set a little bit of sightseeing. Okay, we're going to go to this national park. Oh, that's always a must for me. Anytime I go anywhere, especially within Australia, it's like choose at least 2 or 3 national parks and find some good walks to a waterfall or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's great. And now that the kids are a bit older, we can move faster,
If you're at the beach, getting out onto the rocks.
Yeah.
I always like that. Like you can, it's easy. Like most of us find ourselves at the beach at some point, but you can take that little trip and sort of scurry along the rocks and explore around the headlands and stuff. It's always pays dividends.
Yeah, especially in Sydney, like when you're, if you're staying in Sydney, and people will because of COVID and whatnot. But yeah, catching up with friends and doing like the beach to beach walks and then a swim.
Yeah.
Or something like that. That's a good one. Or just like in general, catching up with a friend over something, that's physical. And a walk's a good way to do it, especially if it's like around a little headland or something like that. It's great. It's holidays is something you don't often do maybe.
For our members,
in the suburbs.
Just a tip, if you lack inspiration to come up with, say you want to do a workout and you lack inspiration, remember all of our workouts are available on your Wodify app. So you can go back and look at any of our classes from any time and just choose a session. So body weight would probably be one of the best ones if you don't have any equipment. Just find yourself a little body weight and just do like the first half of the class, right?
Yeah. Or you could even just pack a set of rings.
Pack a set of
rings.
rings.
So light.
Stock them in the gym now.
Yeah.
Dude, we need to unpack those and pump them out.
I know. Yeah, people need them. Mm-hmm. Pair of rings, it's such an invaluable thing. Even if you kind of shit at using them, it's so worthwhile having a pair.
Yeah.
Because you get better over the years and you learn more stuff, more things to do with them.
Yeah. Rings and I always take rings and a small set of mitts and gloves.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear.
That's cool. I take the rings.
I carry a gi with me everywhere I go. Sometimes I just wear it on the streets, stare people out.
Do you go to jiu-jitsu gyms when you travel?
Yeah, I do.
More overseas.
I haven't travelled in that way for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I typically would, I suppose. I was just thinking what I do at this Christmas. Maybe I would. My knee hasn't really felt like I want to.
It's ready.
Front up at a
gym. You'd have a bit of a target on you.
Yeah, there's always
that you're a brown belt.
Bit of that.
Going to be like, I want to roll with that new brown belt.
Yeah.
Test myself.
Yeah.
Perfect.
See if I can tap this guy out.
But yeah, I think I will. I'll take it down south with me this year. It's time.
You have to have a roll with Will from Ghetto.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an obliteration.
He'd love it though.
He loves it. He's actually really good. He's a goer. Like he's good fun to roll with.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, I'd have a roll with him. And there's a few gyms, now that I think about it, down in Wollongong that I've connected with through Bulletproof and that kind of thing. So there's plenty of crew to check out down there. But yeah, that's right. Like just having some shit, like if I just have my gi with me and you planted that idea in my head and I'm like, oh fuck, I've got a couple of hours. I can Google a class near me and I can go and have an awesome training session. Whereas if I didn't take the gi or you didn't have your rings or you didn't have your mitts, you make it that much harder to do that. You make it almost impossible to do that thing.
Yeah, you should potentially schedule it. Like tell yourself on this day I'm going on this bushwalk. On this day I'm going to be doing some ring work. On this day I'm hitting the beach and I'm going to pack the floaty, with the rope. So you just sneak it in there.
So I want to. I guess you could say, you have the tools around, or pack your boot for action. Always be ready for action. I know I'm like that all the time. Like in my boot. I'd like to know what you all have in your boot, but I got skateboards. I got the rings. I have shorts, and
soccer ball.
I have balls.
You got balls.
I got balls, paws. But I always have balls. So yeah, I'm like ready to go because you're on. If you're in Sydney, you're on the other side of town. Or you're here and you're at a lunch and it's like in Coogee, you're like stuck down, jump in the water. Kids will go in. I'll go in and it's just like having those bits. You know what I take? I take one of the ropes from the gym every holiday I go on.
Ah, you like those, huh? For the kids.
So the kids love it. Just sling it over a branch because we got these ones in the gym. If you haven't seen them. With an eye loop at the end. So you just kind of cast that over, then thread the open end through it and it just pulls tight. And yeah, we swing on it or just rope climb it. Just do whatever. Yeah, I love those.
Rope climbs are great.
I do
Holiday
like
tour.
rope climbs. I took a
So
rope
easy.
during COVID to try and get Hattie out of the park, and I think she climbed it once and then was just not interested.
She's a very good climber, though.
She's an awesome climber.
Fuck,
I
she
think,
climbed to the top of that flagpole when she was like 3.
yeah.
Which flagpole was it?
Savage climber.
Unbelievable. Like my daughter's a good climber, and she couldn't climb that pole. And how do you?
I remember that.
whipped
Which
up
pole
that.
was it?
It's every pole you ever walk past.
Yeah,
with her.
she's a pole climber.
She loves it. But yeah, I think there was something because it was structured. Because I'm like, hey, let's climb this. I'll put it up. She's like,
Had to
nah.
be play.
It's
Yeah.
got to be. It's got to be my decision,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Needed a bit of an adventure with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
With the rope,
I'm learning.
I often look for the kind of fig type trees. You know, we got the Moreton Bay
Other than
ones.
Beth.
Yeah,
But because of the root system that goes all around, you can sling the rope and you can either climb up into the crook of the tree and swing out.
Ah,
So you can
yeah.
find a spot to swing out, or you just go from like root to root. So you go, okay, the challenge is start on this route and land on that route.
that's cool.
Yeah, so it's like swing and land.
Fuck yeah.
And you just
You
build
know,
it
the
from
other thing
there.
you need to keep in check when you're over the holiday season is your sleep. A lot of people tend to stay up a lot later than they should over these times because you don't have work the next day.
Yeah, and you feel compelled.
Yeah.
Nah, let's stay up and have a drink.
Yeah. And maybe you're around people that haven't seen for a long time, so you want to chat. And you still want to have that, you still want to have that time with the adults where you can sit down and catch up and talk about life. But you don't necessarily want to be doing it day in and day out. You need to kind of schedule some early nights there. And a good way to get around that is to schedule in some daytime activities that start quite early. You know? So the bushwalk, it's like, okay, tomorrow we're all going bushwalking. We're going
right.
to kick off early, so let's get an early night.
Forces people to bed.
Everyone goes to bed and then drag them all out and get them up that 10K fucking incline.
Fuck, you know that T is just a menace to his whole
Oh,
family.
I know.
They're just like, oh,
Get up
Tiara's
there.
coming. How wonderful. He's a lovely boy.
I got 10 people up this fucking mountain in Raro. You should have seen it. It was so fucking steep.
The one I came up?
That was with the
Nikki?
ropes.
Fucking hell.
The storm came in. It was like,
Bro.
oh my. Omar got lost.
Yeah.
Omar and Big Jack got lost. Were you there for that one? Oh, it was a different one.
That was a different one.
Yeah, that one we went on with Nicky. It was the highest point, and that was a good one.
You were like, this will be like 2 hours. And it was like 8 hours.
It was a big trek.
It
that
was fucking huge.
Yeah.
Your little cousins were there.
one. It did well though.
Yeah, well, we all survived.
Yeah, the one before we lost 2 people. It's only a little island, but they found the riverbank and had to try and work their way back to the ocean.
God.
They didn't talk to me for about 3 days after that. Yeah, and you guys got lost on the Cross Island walk.
We got lost on the Cross Island.
It's pretty scary. Like when you get lost in that, it's so thick.
Man.
Yeah, it's quite intimidating.
Yeah, you got no impression of where you're at. I'm sure it's the same as like being lost in a jungle in Fiji. You tend to think, I'll be able to figure it out. I'll get to the top of the mountain and just like look.
Yeah.
But you can't. There's fucking trees. Like it's dense foliage everywhere. And nothing's memorable. There's no landmarks.
I fucked up
It's
once.
fucking scary.
It wasn't like I was lost. You've been to my village, my dad's village.
Yeah.
I basically went up to the phone tower, which is above. Like you can walk. I don't know if you ever did that walk. Go around the back of the village, and there's some plantations and fields, and there's kind of a road cut in. Walk all the way to the top, and you can come back down. Do it in a couple of hours. But I went up there and I decided that I like you can see when you look at some island hills from a distance, they just look like grass covered hillsides, and then there's thick bits here and there, but it's like grass covered. And I decided, hey, I'm going to go up and I'm just going to walk directly down, straight down to my uncle's property and just walk straight to the water. And I started doing that and fuck me, it was like I just got stuck. I knew where I had to go, but that grass was like 10 foot high and it was all like razor sharp, almost like sugar cane, but it was just like you couldn't walk on it.
Slices you
And I wasn't walking on the ground. And then I got into this thick bit of bush that was like lantana. I was carrying a tripod and a bag full of cameras. I took some photos up there, and I came through the grass bit, and it was treacherous. I ripped all my pants. So funny because when I came out of the bush, my uncle was just laughing at me. I'd like ripped my cargo. I'd like zip off like mad Columbia ones, and I just torn them because I came through this thing. Imagine like kind of Lantana, and just like freaking a couple of 100 meters of it. And it's so thick that you're not touching the ground. I could see the ground. The ground was like 1.5 meters below me.
Trying to step on
and I
it.
was just trying to stand. And in the end, I found out that the most efficient way to get across it was to roll. So I rolled for like 150 meters. I had this tripod and I was like throwing it ahead, and I just had to roll on my side, like just to keep it. Oh, dude, it was so funny.
People pay for stuff like that. Called Tough Mudder.
Oh, dude, it was such a
And
rookie
the thing
thing.
you can't describe with that, like being around and that.
Well, the sun was going
the
down.
heat and
And the sun
yeah,
was
the
going down, and
moisture.
I was like, "Oh
right, so
shit!"
you're shitting yourself.
Yeah, a little bit.
Rotting and, yeah, mate. And so many bugs just want your
Oh, they were
want
eating me.
your calories.
Yeah. You start to doubt yourself. I don't think I'm going to make it. Man, what happens if I don't make it? You got to run, Paulie.
I got to go, folks.
We're going to wrap it there anyways.
Okay.
But I think that gives people a couple good tips on how to survive the holidays.
That's right.
But we say the same shit every year. It's all about balance, man. And
Keep
earn
moving.
it.
Keep moving.
Keep moving.
Practice a little bit of
Limit your
discipline, but
options.
have some fun. Obviously.
Yeah, because a little bit of discipline makes you feel, it frames your day better.
Yeah.
So it's ultimately all about you having a better time.
That's right. That's the most important thing.
Try and pick the good
Have fun.
food. Try and buy the good beers, or
Dodge a dessert.
yeah.
don't get the cheap stuff this year.
That's
Get the
right.
good meat.
Yeah.
Yep, get the
Quality-
local stuff,
quality over
grass fed.
quantity.
Yeah, and the good veggies.
Organic
They're all-
shit.
Yeah, they're
Stay
supposed to
away
be
from the
memorable
quantity.
meals that you can savor.
Yeah, don't do all your shopping at Coles or Woolies.
No.
Yeah, fuck that.
Go to a local place.
Yeah.
If you're in the hood and you want to come train at Jungle Brothers, we're open for a little bit between Christmas and New Year. So just get in touch, junglebrothers.com, and you'll be able to see it on our timetable there anyway. But come visit. We're open to visitors.
We sure are.
Especially
Especially over Christmas if you stopped in Sydney and you
Yeah.
want a gym to train in
it's the one.
because you're feeling a bit lethargic from eating too much shit. Come see us.
Yeah, bring your friends. Love it. Thanks, boys. Catch you guys next week.
Thank you.
See you.
See you.